think we're just waiting for Chairman Smoker to.
Was he on earlier?
I don't think I've seen him on.
I'll check.
I know he's working on it.
How'd that surplus sale go? Was there anything left over?
Yeah, quite a bit of things that I didn't think would sell, CPR mannequins and, just stuff that were so old and, aren't useful to the general public.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it goes in the garbage. Day stuff goes in the garbage now?
Pretty much. I didn't go through, but I told, Gary to anything that makes sense to donate to something or recycle to do that. And
He needs a resend because he's getting no meeting out there.
did he go to the last one?
All right, everybody there?
Yes.
Yes, and we are live, so I'm just letting the screen share on so people know we're coming.
Okay,
So we should be able to start whenever you are like it. I'll take off the screen share.
okay. Let me get the packet up here again. Sorry, I had to reboot and it still didn't work, so we had to send another link. So, okay, we'll call this meeting to order now at 19:03 hours. And are there any changes to the agenda?
I have none.
Okay, then we'll adopt the agenda as presented. Minutes of the previous meeting, any changes, corrections? Nope.
The minutes on the October 5th look okay to me. The minutes for our special meeting,
Mm-hmm.
it says I wasn't there at the beginning, but I was because I was visiting with our presenters before you folks got on.
Commissioner Flath, I put that because technically we had to open a Blue Jeans meeting like this and call it to order and then adjourn to the executive session. So if you watch the recording, you're not there. So I was trying to note if people were watching the YouTube video, why they didn't see you, but you were there in executive session.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
So I'll move that we accept both of those minutes for the 5th and the 14th.
okay. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, I think you have to open the public meeting separately, don't you, Chairman?
Yes, we do. We will, at this point, put our regular meeting on hold and go to our public hearing. So,
Okay, and with that, I have a slideshow, so I'll share my screen with everybody. Let me know if it's not working. And I will let the public know at the end of this, we'll have a call-in number for you to call with comments, and that number will come up when we get to that point.
excellent.
Okay, everybody see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll start off, obviously, this is our public hearing for the budget per RCW. And we'll go over expenses and revenue. The purpose of this is to provide information to the public so they can give feedback to you as the commissioners on the expense budget and the revenue budget. So first, I just want to go over what we've done this year, so we kind of have set the framework of where we're going next year. So obviously, this year has been consumed by COVID. That has made how we're doing business a little bit different, made it a little bit more difficult to achieve some things, but we still did. Personnel-wise, obviously Chief Simmons retired, and through this year, so the last few months, we've hired to replace the vacant chief's position, maintenance position, and paramedic. Also, at the beginning of the year, we had two, or that was the end of last year, but the beginning, 2 people graduate from the fire academy. We continue to lose part-time personnel, but due to COVID, we have not been able to hire or replace them. As soon as we feel comfortable with that, we will start on that again. This year we have replaced some equipment. We have a new battalion chief's vehicle. The power load cots will be coming in soon. New extrication equipment for engine 41 to make all of our engines the same, with the same equipment, interchangeable. We've changed to battery powered fans, ordered new rescue equipment, instituted and updated our MCI vehicle and put it in a vehicle instead of a trailer. We are working on our new phone system. That's in the process, and same with our new brush truck. You'll be considering the brush truck later this meeting. We also replaced our SCBA fill station and compressor. We started our new hiring process that you approved, and I just looked last night, and we have over 30 applicants for paramedics, which is tremendous for us. And the list won't close until mid-December, so hopefully we will have plenty of people to interview. We started our interim DC process. Our second candidate started last week. That's been going good. We finished getting a second set of bunker pants and bunker coats for all of our firefighters. We've instituted a new report management system and learning management system and email system. Have four new ticks. We've reconfigured our office staff and office space, and a bunch of new IT upgrades. Things that we did not accomplish in 2020 that we had hoped to. Basically, we put all the facility maintenance and upgrades on hold until we can get a strategic plan. We still need to work out the property ownership issue. We put a new engine purchase on hold due to COVID. We have not yet completed our new SCBAs, but we did not qualify for the grant, and we should be bringing the purchase idea for the new SCBAs to you within the next meeting or two. We also were not able to increase the staffing like we'd planned, but as I just told you, that's set to happen between January and March of this coming year. So for 2021, the district goals, obviously continue emergency service response, improve and add to training. One of the big things the first part of the year will be the strategic plan development. We need to have a plan for facility, staffing, and deployment, and prepare financially for our future facility needs. It's likely that we'll have tens of millions of dollars of need in a few years to upgrade, remodel, or replace most of our facilities. We obviously still have equipment replacement to be done, such as the engine that didn't happen, other equipment, and other staff vehicles. We're still going to look at increased staffing and increased ALS serviceability. And sometime at the end of this summer or fall, we'll need to fill the deputy chief's position and continue to look at future succession planning within the organization. We need to start to create a data collection and use plan so that we can have meaningful discussions about where we're going and what changes how they'll affect us and what we need to work on. We're the beginning stages of participation in the area technical teams, water, rope, and hazmat. At the beginning of the year, we'll be getting our new radios from Snow 911, and that will be a big undertaking. We'll be purchasing and adding the new equipment for the brush rig with a plan to begin participation in state mobilization. Also, a big goal of mine is to increase our cooperative plans with neighboring jurisdictions, and contract negotiations will begin again next year. So this is the first draft of the proposed budget expenditures that we have sent in the packet, in the updated packet. We got new updated numbers from the county today, and that's why we sent the commissioners a new packet the last couple hours, because we were able to put better numbers in. We're going to see these expenditures and revenues a few times this presentation, and then the commissioners will be able to talk about them in the regular meeting. go over this quickly. There's a few line items that had significant changes. I just kind of listed them here. There's some one-time changes, some short-term, and then a few long-term, just to give you show you a reason why that we are paying attention to when the line items changed significantly. This is our proposed revenue. This is assuming a 1% on both the levies, and we'll get into later your options and different things, but we had to choose one to go with. So total revenues of $11,281,000, sorry. Some highlights of the 21 budget. Bargaining unit costs are going to be about 2.5%, plus or minus. We don't have the CPI that we'll use in there yet, but we're guessing, looking at the last few months, that 2.5% is going to be about where it hits. We are changing our medical and dental insurance carriers. With that, pretty much the same plans, but only a 4% increase with this. The staff and the local have been involved in this. Everybody's in agreement on that. Facilities, again, I want to state minimal repair and maintenance through this year until we get a facility strategic plan to be completed. We need to have a capital budget needs. The capital budget needs are going to be extremely large in the near future, like I said, and planning and preparing financially is going to be of great importance. Other capital projects, we are going to look at PPE and personal storage at the stations. A lot of what we'll be putting in would be transferable if we build a new station, so it's not money that won't be able to be reallocated if we change facilities. Air conditioning in the server room, it runs too hot and is not conducive to good computers. And then again, we still have to work out the city district ownership agreement. For equipment, some of the things that we plan on doing next year is another staff vehicle to replace the old Ranger and the small Ford SUV. The new fire engine that we put off, we'll need to be looking at that next year. Our current engine 40 backup is getting long in the tooth. Like I said before, we'll be looking at wildland equipment for the new truck and for mobilization. A barcoding system so we can better track our supplies and equipment. As I said, the main radios are going to be coming in through Snow 911, but a lot of the extra chargers and mics and stuff like that are not part of that, and we'll be purchasing them on our own. Again, a big plan will be the continued tech team participation and extrication equipment. Operationally, the biggest impact is going to be the hiring of 5 new, hopefully paramedics, but 5 new people. The gear, the training, the equipment that will go into that is a large outlay. And that will be replacing and then adding the 3 new positions, 1 per shift. And we'll also increase the PPE to a full second set instead of just a second set of the bunker pants and bunker coat. For the training in 21, obviously we're going to continue our fire and EMS training. We need to increase some administrative training. We did 1 good training this year. We need to increase that. We need to increase the extra and outside training to get more diversified training in. We need to complete the learning management system and web-based training. That's been going really well. Our training staff is doing very good at that, but it still has a lot more work. And then we need to gain efficiency by utilizing partnerships with our neighboring agencies. For the RLB training site, the burn building is currently on hold because of all the other capital projects we need. However, we have been in some very initial talks of partnerships with some of our neighboring agencies, and if those are done financially correct, we might bring that project back to the front if it makes sense financially because of the partnerships. And again, the RLB, we need to use that to gain efficiencies and gain synergy with our partnerships. It's a huge asset to us, and we need to utilize that asset to bring more to the district. And obviously, we'll have to continue to maintain that site. So revenue planning, just in general. We passed the EMS levy in 2019. However, it's likely to need a levy lid lift somewhere between the 3 to 8 years. We, I think, planned that initially when we did the permanent levy because it continually goes down over years. So just, it's a ways off, but just have that in our head. The last fire levy lid lift we did was in 2017. And it was for 5 years, which means if we want to continue with the current way it is or bring the lid back to where it was, we need to be looking somewhere in 2021 to the latest 2022 to redo that. If not, that will expire and we'll just go to the normal 1% of where we were from then. We don't do a levy lid lift. We could possibly need a capital bonds through the facilities, or we could, in addition to the levy lid lift or in lieu of the levy lid lift, we can lower that capital bond need by, or delay it by continually to save into F78, the capital fund for facilities. And then after the strategic plan is completed, we'll have a better idea of the timeline and the needs for that capital. So here's the first look. This is what we had put on the resolution for the fire levy. Our assessed valuation is the same, no matter what we do, so that's there. The 1%, if we did a 1% increase to our fire levy, it would end up being a tax rate of $1.31, which is a 6-cent decrease. Our new construction is 88,000, which would give us a total fire levy of the 7,522,000. If we did, I'm going to give you two options to this. That's the 1% option. If we did the highest lawful limit, that would be the 6% increase plus the bank capacity, and that would give us the 8,272,000. And you can see the 1% is $162,000 increase from last year, and the 8.2 million is the 911,000 increase. For the EMS levy, it's a lot more straightforward because we only have the 1% to obviously zero option. So the EMS, the assessed valuation from the EMS levy is 5.7 billion. The assessment, if we did the 1%, would be 47 cents. Obviously, I didn't change that from the new numbers, but a 2.7 cent decrease. New construction is 31,000. A 1% increase would give us a total from the EMS levy of 2.7 million, or about 26,000 over last year. This is, like I said, this is just a different way to look at the expense budget that I showed you earlier. And you can see the how it's broken out by the different categories, with a total expense budget of the 11,272,000, and that's assuming we went with a 1% revenue budget. So this is, oops, sorry. This is a way to look at the two options. Option A on the top right is the 1%, both fire and EMS. Option 2 is the option A is the 1% for fire and EMS is top left. The highest lawful limit option is option B on the top right. The yellow highlight is the big change. If we went with the highest lawful limit, we would put about 750,000 extra into our capital funds. And as I've stated, that we need to start planning for those large facility capital outlays. You can see the tax rate here in the middle, what it was in 2020, what it would be in 21 if we did the 1%, or the 21 1% and highest lawful limit. Down in the middle, you can kind of see the starting facility capital funds and equipment, what we plan on purchasing this year, and then what the ending balance would be. And again, you can see the big difference between the 1% and the highest lawful limit is we would put about 750,000 more into our future facility capital fund. We would end next year with about 4 million in that facility fund, which, depending on how we do the station, would be, stations, I'm just guessing what we would need would be probably $10 to $50 million. So we would be about a third of the way there to one station. That would not do the other two. So this just goes over the EMS levy again. If we did, or the F70, if we did a 1% for both, you get the 7.5, the 2.7 for a total of 10,250. And here's what it would look like if we did the highest lawful limit. You'd see the EMS levy stays the same, and the fire levy increases. And then finally, commissioners, this is for you. Obviously, I've shown you two options throughout here, but really there's a wide range of options. We'll go over this in the general meeting, but basically, if you look at the bottom left there, there is a multitude of options you have, and I've highlighted the two I've shown you, the 1% and the highest lawful limit. So went through this pretty fast. Give everybody an overview of expense and revenue. Hit everything a few times so that we could see it again. If the public would like to call in and have any questions or comments for the commissioners, the phone number's on the screen right now, and we'll give people a few minutes before we move on.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
While we're doing that, commissioners, if you have any comments, we could probably take those.
I do not, except for maybe the Capital Facilities Fund. That is something that I am in favor of building on, so that when it comes time to build a station, we don't have to go out and get a big bond. It reduces the cost of building that building, essentially, because we're not financing a large part of it. We'll finance part of it, but not all of it.
I agree with that as well.
Are there any contingency plans in this proposal for our relationship with the city and what we have to do there?
It depends on which routes we go. So I will say, without giving away all the possible ideas, yes and no. So I'm fairly new to that discussion. I meet with the city in a couple of weeks, and I'll know more. So if we had to do something one way, it might come out of that F78 fund. If we didn't, it might come out of a different line item or a different fund. And then there are some things that maybe we haven't even thought about that might have to be a budget adjustment for you guys to vote on. So until we kind of get an idea of where we're going, nothing particular.
Thank you.
We still haven't got any phone calls, Commissioner Schmoker, so I'll leave it up to you how long you would like to let it.
Let's wait one more minute. One more minute. Might be somebody out there trying to find a phone. Okay, then let's close the public hearing portion of this meeting and go back to our regular meeting. It's to old business. Operating budget.
Okay, so basically everything that we went over just now is in more detail in your packet. Again, the current operating budget is based on the 1% revenue.
Any questions about the budget?
If you are looking at
Comments?
Oh, you got me, Jim?
I got you.
Okay.
Are you there?
We're having connection difficulties?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
See, I'm not hooked to cable. I'm hooked up wireless.
Yeah, you're pretty spotty for us. You're cutting in and out.
All right, let me see if I can find a cable. Let's Oh, just unplug that one. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, I am now plugged in, hardwired. Better yet?
That was better, I believe. Still shows,
Okay, well,
oh, now you froze again. It still shows on my end that you're connected wirelessly.
okay. Let's see, there's no fire.
Now you see him, now you don't.
Oh, how about now?
Still freezing. Either that or you're really still.
Connected, okay. Are we there?
That's, so far you're not freezing.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're good now.
I think
Oh.
I disconnected the wireless, so now I should be connected by the hard wire, which should make it
Okay.
a lot better.
Okay, so I was just saying that what you have after for this is the expense budget in more detail that we just went over. It's based on the 1%. If you guys eventually decide to go with the highest lawful limit, we could either change that tonight, or we could change that at any time in the future, because it's just basically a change of one line item, that F78 facilities. So it goes in detailed line items. I have given you the next pages is some of the revenue, and then I've given you a little synopsis of the big line item changes, and then finally a quick proposed of the F75 and F78 capital expenditures and when the plan to utilize those are, which quarter, basically.
Okay.
So I don't want to go over in detail unless you guys have any specific questions. Or if
I
you
do
want me
not.
to.
I do not have any questions, specific questions, commissioners?
Nope, I don't have any questions.
I don't have any at the present time.
Okay, so let's have a brief discussion about the 1% versus the maximum. What's your guys' feeling about that?
I feel like Chief Waller described, we have a lot of things that we're trying to address this year. So I would lean towards the maximum, just because, like you said, we have a lot of capital improvements that we're looking at this year, and the more money we can put down towards those versus borrowing would be, I think, more beneficial.
Commissioner Platt?
Well, as we go forward, I think, as our chairman said, that it's good to have some funds sitting there, so when we go about after the strategic plan, that we can make some wise decisions then, and we have funds to work with already.
Okay. Good. So I propose we go ahead and do that then. We don't really need a motion on that at this point.
I'll give you a real quick. We would want to change the transfer to F78 from its current. Let me make sure I get it right. From its current of this budget 475, you'd want to change it to 1.225 million.
Okay, yes.
And so in the end, the rate that we're paying per thousand this year will go up by how much?
It'll go up by, I think, a little bit, around 3 to 4 cents per thousand.
3 to 4 cents a thousand.
Yes. I don't have the exact number. I'm sure Mike does. I can find it real quick.
It was like 188 to 191. Can't remember the numbers after that. There's a,
Yeah, it
when you
goes
talk to the guy from the
from-
county, there's like 10 or 15 numbers after the decimal points.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's around that 3 cents.
All right,
For
thank
those.
you.
And so if you guys want to make a motion to adopt the budget as amended with that one change.
It's going to the highest lawful limit.
Right now, we're just doing the expense budget. They're tied. It's a pain, but we need you guys to adopt the expense budget first. Which obviously ties to that, but this is just, we have to do them separately. So you'll do the revenue by resolution next meeting. And this is just a motion to pass the expense budget.
I make a motion to pass the expense budget.
And
As
I'll
amended.
second that. As amended, yes.
As amended. Okay.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. So that brings us to 452 bid acceptance.
So you have the sheet that kind of shows the two comparisons, like I showed you last time, in the basically action item brief. I've explained it a little more what it means. They didn't bid on all the same things. One of the companies bid on some things and said we have to figure out the price later on others, and vice versa. So, commissioners, you read through all the bids. It was very difficult to have a true line by line comparison. So basically, in that sheet I gave you was only the things that were different, how they were different, and then when they gave you costs, I put that in there. The TBD means basically they will give us a cost once they get the truck there and look it over. The highlighted numbers are the totals at the bottom, and the highlighted wording is what we would like to have, obviously depending on how the price comes back. Either way, I think it's going to be, even though there's different numbers and different to be determines, from kind of comparing all the numbers that they did do similar things I would say Cascade is going to be about $20,000 cheaper in the end, no matter which options we select. From talking to people, I couldn't find a good reason that we'd pay General Fire $20,000 more for the same thing. One good example is the front remote nozzle. That's probably the best example. They're literally bidding the exact same nozzle, exact same model, put in the exact same way. And Cascade's bid for that option was $7,600. General Fire's was $12,800. So about $5,000 difference on the exact same thing. So our recommendation is that we accept the bid of Cascade. We get the truck over there and we figure out the cost for all of the options and make a determination of what we want to utilize and not utilize.
Okay, and having looked through both of them, I would agree with the Cascade proposal. In fact, I guess I will make a motion that we approve Cascade as the vendor for 452.
I'll second that.
Okay?
And
And
I have a question though,
go ahead.
in the, where you have highlighted base,
Yes.
what does that mean in both sides?
Are you at the top one or the bottom one?
Well, it's throughout the sheets. For instance, electrical on the Cascade, it says base.
Okay,
Or,
so that means they included that in that top number. And so for Cascade, the electrical is included in that 79,862.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's
They
how
gave
you-
us a base bid price, and each company included some things differently in that base versus the other.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I just want to clear that up,
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and Commissioner Merritt is abstaining because he has a relationship with one of these companies. So motion passes. Cascade will be it. Okay. Okay, accounts payable and payroll. Questions?
Uh, Yes, I was looking at page 30
Okay,
and number 20. I thought we had taken care of this last month.
We have
There-
done.
the-
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mike.
there's the actual, actually, there's the job there, and then they had to go back and redo it because our guys decided to spray water across and messed up their sealer coating. So it cost us a little extra labor to get that repaired.
And I believe last month you accepted the quotes, correct?
yes.
Yeah, so we accepted the quotes and then this is actually paying the bill after they did the work.
Oh, all right. Okay,
Next.
and then on page 35, I was curious about the number 38, where it talks about refund.
We do the ambulance transports for Brickman Systems Design, and sometimes the people get things paid off and their insurance comes through, and then we have to pay them back that money because it's already been deposited into our accounts. So they vary by person and by, you know, by each incident, what they've overpaid or.
So these go back to either vendors or people?
Correct. And most of the larger ones that you see in there are back to vendors. The smaller ones are to individuals that were paying on their bill and overpaid somehow. Because their insurance
Okay.
kicked in more or whatever than they planned.
All right. That's all I had on accounts payable.
Okay. Commissioner Merritt, any questions?
Nope, I don't have any questions on that.
Okay,
On the
For
payroll,
payroll?
I have a question.
okay,
If we're down to payroll,
yep.
the first item there on payroll, I do not understand the code for the
Which
first
code?
individual.
So the code, you mean, you're talking
Well,
about OT?
everybody else has the same number and the first person has a different one.
Which,
Oh.
can you give us, is it page 41?
Yes, page
Yes, it is.
41.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
2
date,
Yeah, the date's off.
date is different. The date is incorrect.
It's way in the future.
219, 2,947.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an oversight, obviously. We'll pay them before then.
He'd be pretty old, wouldn't he?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, anyway.
just think the interest we could save on or make on that money in the meantime.
And I think if we put $25 in the bank, we could probably pay him that then.
Yeah,
Maybe even less, maybe 25 cents.
Okay,
Right.
so those dates are all supposed to be the same then, right?
yes, that's the pay date.
Right, that's what I thought, but that's
Yeah.
why I was kind of curious about that first one, if there was something different about that.
Yeah, I missed that. I look at the other side of the sheet.
Oh, I see. Well, I looked there too.
Yeah, I know. You do a great job. Okay, so, okay, any other discussion on either the accounts payable or the payroll?
So I'd move that we pass both of them with the one correction with the payroll date.
I second that motion.
Okay, any other further discussion? All in favor? Aye, motion passes. So then that comes down to new business, 2021 revenue.
So even though it seems backwards, now we're to the revenue like we talked about. I will say that our at issue form that explains everything did not get updated with the new numbers that we got back from the county, so it's a little bit off. But this just goes through what we already talked about. All the forms after the ad issue have the correct number. So we have the 1%, the HLL, your options. That's the first form that we gave you in your packet. The second is that explanation of the difference between the two options, how it changes F78, and then again, our plan for capital expenditures next year. Since you kind of went over what you want, this is still just a preliminary. There will be no action tonight. We'll have resolutions for you in the next meeting to officially adopt, and you could make changes up until then. So right now, do you have any more questions about the revenue?
I do not.
Nope. I don't have any questions.
Okay,
So the new building starts and so forth like that, those people just are plugged in whenever they move in, the houses or apartments are done and so forth. That's how that works.
Yeah, so off the permits, Evan could probably say it more than me, but after the permits, they have so long before they come out, and at some point of the construction, they'll start putting partials on, and then obviously when you get your occupancy permit, it's full. And so when those things come on the tax rolls, they go on new construction and are not subject to the 1% cap. And that's the big difference is when that initiative passed, new construction was out of the 1% cap. So you get your new construction plus 1% on all of your other stuff. Okay. So they just come in paying the rate that is created by the 1% or whatever you guys set in this case.
right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion on that? Recommendations? I think we already agreed we wanted to go for the HLL.
And just for your information, I've sent we'll have an extra resolution this year because of the IPD, which I'll explain more when we get to next meeting. And I've sent all the resolution drafts to Brian Snur to just double check that we have the right wording. And so that's what we're kind of waiting for next meeting is for him to just give his okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then let's move on to standard of cover. Oh, yes.
So this is kind of what we talked about. This will be the first key in that strategic plan. Obviously, the capital part will have, we'll probably have to get some other consultants that do a little bit more about architecture and land use and real estate. But this will really help give us the direction, give us the information, really, not the direction, give us the information to help us decide on how we want to move in the future, the next 5, 10, 20 years, and set us in a direction for deployment and staffing and capital needs and equipment needs. What you have before you is just a draft of what they call the technical part of the RFP. So it's just the broad scope of what we are going to ask all the companies to give us their proposal on how they would do it, what they would do. If you guys accept this, basically what I'll do is send it to Brian Snur. He'll put all the other legalese around it. The good thing about RFPs, and this would count for that, is they're a little bit more open. So what the goal is that we'll get 2, 3, 4, 5 proposals back from these companies saying, this is what we think we should do and how we should do it. Obviously, how much it costs, when we're going to do it, and so on and so forth. And then we'll sit down when we get all those proposals back, obviously, and go through them really in depth and say, okay, which company really is going to come in and fit our needs and our goals the way we want, and then obviously accept that company. And then typically what you do after that is you sit down with them and even hone that more about, get really specific about our organization and stakeholders and how they're going to get, who they're going to talk to, and set all that up. So that's kind of the process. So really what I'm just asking now is if you guys are good with this draft, if I can send it to Brian, then in the next month or two, we'll put it out to bid, and it'll sit out there for a month or two. And we'll get proposals back from hopefully a bunch of different companies, a bunch of different consultants that we can evaluate and see who fits our needs the best. I've given you guys examples of different companies, but every company kind of does things differently, and we're going to need to take time to really evaluate which one is going to fit us.
Okay. Any discussion around this? Any changes or concerns about the wording as is? Okay, then I'll,
Just
Go
need a
ahead.
motion.
yes,
I'll move that we go forward with the standard of covered and the technical section request for proposal.
I second that.
I'll second. Okay, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, thank you, Chief. That looks really good. I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to getting this process started.
Me too.
Okay, and Department of Energy Covenant at the the training site.
Ecology. Did I say energy? Ecology.
Yeah, ecology, I'm sorry, energy. Well, they have a lot of energy.
They do.
So having read through the proposal, I had lots of reservations, but there's two things. One, the area that's covered is extremely small relative to our site. And the second thing is that we really don't have a choice.
Those are both correct. Very correct.
Right.
So any discussion? Did you guys get a chance to read this?
Yes, I did. I went through it. I
Yep.
noted that on page 71, the point of contact here for the fire district needs to be changed.
Yes,
I
and
think
sorry I didn't do
Yeah.
that. We had told them that they had to change that, the DOA, and we'll make that
Okay.
change.
And then I'm wondering, from our side of the house, it talks in there about a yearly, we have to do a yearly inspection about that.
Correct.
Yes.
Is,
Forever.
are there, yeah, are there certain people that the ecology department will recognize over against others to do that inspection?
No, so I've talked to our land use attorney that we were referred to from Brian Snur and the Department of Ecology representative, and they both agree that that's just us. So basically what we need to do is we need to go down, inspect it every year ourselves. Both of them recommended us taking pictures, and basically we just need to report to them the condition of the pavement, and obviously if there's big cracks or potholes or anything, we should repair them when we note them. So really it's just up to us. There's no certified inspector, there's no form that they expect. Just an email to them with a couple picture attachments is the expectation for the inspection.
Would we set up a specific month when we'd want to do the yearly one?
Yes, I've already been working with Gary and Greg, which will do it. Obviously, like I talked to Chairman Smoker, we're going to have to be diligent about passing this information on throughout the legacy of these positions. But right now it'd be Gary and Greg, and my expectation is once we register the covenant with the county, I say that I'm going to have Greg and Gary do it, and whenever that is, that will be our yearly time, so that we just do it once it's recorded, and then we do it every year thereafter.
All right, that sounds like a good plan.
Yep, that sounds great.
Okay. So, we will sign that covenant, send it in.
Do we have to have a motion on this, or?
I think we probably do, since it's a legal document and an ongoing requirement. So I'll make a motion, we approve and sign and send back the Department of Ecology's covenant for the training site.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to district staff and work groups. Comments?
We'll let interim DC Hodkinson go first.
All right, I'm going to pull up the ops report here. So did you guys, you commissioners, get a chance to review the ops report?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
So I guess I'll go over some of the highlights. In previous meetings, you guys have approved equipment purchases, and some of that equipment is now coming in. So as previously stated by the chief, we got new thermal imagers placed in service on all the front out engines. We got some rope equipment that we put on the front out engines. SCBA fill station is in service. The new battalion rig has been delivered to Station 43, and we're waiting for install on radio lights and decals to get that up and running. Under personnel, we had one of our part-time members, Firefighter Todd, pass his engine test and is now a certified driver operator. And as Chief stated, we got an ongoing job posting for entry level and lateral paramedic positions. Under staffing, we got a couple people on modified duty, dinged up a little bit. A couple of them hopefully will be back in service soon, but we do have a few people that are out currently on modified duty. Our overtime cost for September was higher than August, and that was due mostly to the modified duty of 2 or 3 individuals, and in addition to that, rotating people into the intern DC position has also created some staffing shortages. And then under operations, probably the biggest thing, and I think it looks like Chief's going to talk about this later in the agenda, is we've been working with our neighboring districts, South County and Everett and Fire District 7, and we have changed our run cards, our FRLs, and that's a pretty significant change to our district because essentially we removed any artificial timer that was placed on our residents, and that's going to put a little bit more burden on our neighboring districts and some of our remote areas. They may get called on a 911 call and a Fire District 4 unit will not be dispatched. We're working on getting Fire District 4 members trained up and placed on the various county technical rescue teams. We hope to have members trained up on the various tech teams sometime in 2021. And then I believe at the top, I just kind of put down for the month of September, we ran 357 calls. And then that next table down, the mutual aid statistics. I did not include South County or Everett. I included District 7 just because we run the most mutual aid and receive the most mutual aid from them. And as you can see in the month of September, we received mutual aid from Fire District 7 30 times, and we gave mutual aid 54 times. However, the changes to the run cards, or the FRLs, took place October 1st, so we expect those numbers to be more even. So we don't have the data yet, but we expect our mutual aid received and given will be probably close to being equal. And that's about all I had for the ops report. Do we have any questions?
Nope, not for me.
No,
I had
thank
a
you.
question about the staffing.
Yeah.
The folks that are on modified duty, were they injured here working?
That undetermined on one, two of them no, and we should hopefully have. I haven't heard on one of them, but we should have 2 of them hopefully pretty soon back in service. So we're talking one of them was out maybe in the end about 5 to 6 weeks. The other 2 may be out a lot shorter than that. May just be a couple rotations.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
When you said that one of the injuries may have been undetermined, is that still ongoing looking at it, or is that just the way it is?
I just haven't talked to the individual in person through his battalion chief. I know he's been out for the last 2 rotations, but I don't know. I couldn't answer honestly whether it was an injury incurred on duty or a previous injury that he incurred on duty. So it's dealing with the back issue, and sometimes those are difficult to say. So I guess I don't have an answer for you. So I haven't
No, that's fine.
got a
That's
chance to
fine.
talk
Thank you.
with him.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
It will be answered. They don't go on undetermined forever, Commissioner. It'll just sometimes takes time for the doctors to get their stuff in line and through the process.
All right. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
Chief Waller, you're up.
Yeah, we had our surplus sale Thursday and Saturday. It went really well. I believe about $2,500 in sales. A lot of space has been reclaimed for us. There was still a fair amount of stuff that wasn't sold, and we're working on properly disposing of that equipment over the next probably week or so. I know Gary spent most of the day doing that today. So in the future, we've kind of worked with Gary and some others. We'll probably do much smaller sales and go the online route. There's companies that do it, and it'll make it much easier for us, less time consuming for us and staff, and we'll kind of keep up on it, and hopefully we won't get overrun like the last time. Any questions on the surplus sale?
No, thank you very much. I bought a couple of things myself.
Good. I don't need to go over the FRLs any more than Jason did, really. Except to say, like he said, with the auto aid out of balance, all the other districts around us had kind of gone to that way, and we hadn't, and that's why it was out of balance. So I think this will not only balance out the auto aid given and received, but in the end, give really better service to the citizens, because it's about getting there and giving them the best care at in the best amount of time. But it's definitely going to take us some changes. Part of this too, different a little bit, but the part of this is we'll have 3 months with no artificial anything affecting our response times, and this should give us at least 1 quarter when we have that standard of cover that the company can come in and really look at our responses without artificial effects on it to help us guide how we want to go. So that was one of my big pushes too, to at least get a quarter in there. The D7 training prop, again, you saw me hint on that we need to use our synergy with our partners and get more efficient with our training. Part of that is District 7 they wanted to build a new training prop. It's a temporary training prop, and they're going to do that at the RLB behind the roof training props. They're going to build it. They're going to put it in. We'll have control over it as far as it's going to be part of our facility. And then we can utilize it together. So we're going to get the function out of training in it, and District 7 is going to do the work and pay for the materials, and we're going to work together doing that. So hopefully this is a start of other partnerships like that. One thing that wasn't on my little agenda, but I have in my notes, is just so you guys know, the SCBA quotes are coming back in. So I hopefully bring those to you the next meeting. It's looking like it's going to be about $300,000 or $400,000, and I'll explain all that more at that meeting. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that we're working hard on that because our SCBAs are at the end of their life. And then you can see a couple thank yous and the comment cards. That's all I have.
All right, Commissioner comments?
Yes, I have a comment here. I happen to be looking in my junk mail file. I'd never looked in there before. And I have to apologize. I should probably look in there more often. But there was an email in there from Jason and Greg Osborne to us commissioners. And I'm sorry, I just found it last week. And so they may have been wondering, at least for me, if what was going on, but I don't know why it got into junk mail. Anyway, but they had a proposal that perhaps we could consider naming a room or a portion of the facilities like we have for after our former chief, Robert Merritt. And so I just wanted to put that out there that we might be thinking about that. And I don't know how we go about doing that, but I did want to just share that with you. So I don't know if the other commissioners look in their junk mail either. So
Yeah, no,
Well,
I don't. Uh,
Um,
Jason had mentioned to me that he sent an email and Chief Hutchinson, and I was like, oh, I still hadn't got it. And Greg as well. To be honest with you, I didn't check my junk mail, so that's obviously I would guess where it's at. So
so when did that come in? I remember seeing something about it. It didn't go to my junk mail.
well, they mailed it on the 17th of September.
Oh,
And I just looked at it last on the 16th of October. So
okay.
that's when I found it.
So I don't see anything around
Yep.
that date.
mine's in the junk mail.
No, I don't have it. I've got
So,
3 things in junk mail, and that's not one of them.
Okay.
Although I do seem to recall reading something about that, so it may be somewhere else.
Hmm.
Anyway,
So anyway, I just did want to bring that up that we hadn't intentionally missed it. It just went to the wrong place, and I usually don't look in junk mail. So, but I think it's a worthwhile a suggestion that I don't know how we would look into that, but or how it's been done in the past. Maybe the chairman is has some ideas about how that happened in the past.
well, no, I don't. In the past, all those name changes or room names were done before I became a commissioner, back in my days of not paying attention to anything but firefighting.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but my guess would be that we just make a motion and do it. We would have to pick a room or pick something, and
Well, maybe we could ask our present chief to look around and see if there's an appropriate spot, that could take that.
I will look into it, and within the next couple meetings, get something back to you. I'm not going to promise next meeting because I'm going to try to get
Right.
budget and SCBA done. But by the end of the year, I will have something for you. Something.
Okay. Do you have a copy of this email too, Chief?
I don't think I do, but I can get it. So if
Okay.
I still can't find it. I don't know. What's the title name on the email?
Well, it says to all three of us and the Board of
From who?
Commissioners,
Greg.
from
Who's it from?
Greg Osborne and Jason Hawkinson.
Okay, so I do not see that. Let me search by Greg Osborne.
Evan, did you see it? You saw it?
Yeah, I have it right here, but for some reason, there's the attachment to it is not there anymore. Actually, hold on a second.
I'll get a copy from Greg and or Jason. Greg's on vacation right now, but when he gets back, I will get a copy and I'll send it out from my department email to you guys so you make sure you have it. And I will look into a plan to bring forth.
Yeah, I just searched everywhere and I don't have it.
Greg Osborne drafted a letter. I was a co-signer on it. He emailed it, so I can get him to resend it. But I think the request was to consider naming the RLB classroom after Robert Merritt.
Yeah, I recall seeing that, but I can't find it now. I did a search for all that, and it's not in deleted items either. I don't know what happened to it. It's interesting. However, yes, we can move forward with that. I like the idea.
That's the only comment I have.
All right.
And
Any other
I thank the chief too for giving me a heads up on the MSO, whatever council that is, that it isn't here. Yeah.
Okay. So, any other commissioner comments? Then with that, we will adjourn this meeting at 20:07 hours.